Okie Tsutanatapi. My name's Raven Moffat, and I'm going to be your instructor for this Art 105 course. Let me go ahead and share the screen here so you don't need to just look at my face so directly. Great. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little tour. Welcome to the class. Stoked to have you. Stoked to learn with you. Just a reminder that this is a completely online asynchronous course. So this is the first and possibly the only time you're going to see my talking head narrating things, but I really wanted to give a face to who's going to be giving you written feedback on your assignments, and also who's going to be answering questions as they come up for you, and just like working us through this Art 100 fully online asynchronous course through Pima Online. So this is the landing page of our course. You got a lot of information here. If you're new to D2L, please, use tools, read everything because all of the information for this course is on D2L. I'm going to highlight some points to look at. If you ever have questions or concerns, email me. But before you do so, just do a little peruse of the syllabus and some of these key elements first to see if you can answer your own question, and that way you don't have to wait for me to reply to email. So first of all, this is our landing page. This is actually an announcement that has carried over from when I taught this course in the fall. And so this welcome video that I'm recording right now is going to be updated and put there. And of course, I have it's going to release not on September 7th. It'll release on the 1st, at the start, February 1st, the start of our class. So you've also got this little widget here. If you forget my face, you want to look at my dog's face, you can check that out. I'm an adjunct instructor for Pima's art department, and so I teach some classes on campus. I actually usually cover a lot of the virtual courses, but they might be virtual synchronous, so I'm doing a lot over Zoom. And then I also work for Pima Online in the art department. So I have a studio background. I have an MFA in photo and video, but I work in a lot of different mediums. I work in clay, I work in installation. And I also am just a storyteller, and I grew up with storytellers. So that's the focus of my current dissertation work as a PhD candidate in American Indian Studies at University of Arizona. So believe me, I know what it's like to be a student in higher ed. I've been a student for over a decade. And so I really understand where folks are coming from, maybe being a working person and also, or providing for family and working, and also doing your education. So super proud of everyone for taking care of their learning, but also know that we're all doing our best, and I'm here to support, and I understand if things come up, right? But the best way to talk to me about if you're struggling, or if there's any way that I can support you, is through my email. So I've got it linked right here. I do teach, like I said, different courses. So, right, this is an art history, but I also teach some studio. So it's really, really helpful for me if you can include your course CRN, or at least just say this is Art 105, right? So that I can more immediately know what we're talking about. I generally reply to emails within a 24-hour period, unless there's some sort of, holiday or school break. If ever I'm slow to reply, it likely is because, and this happens quite frequently, that sometimes people will email me with their personal email rather than their Pima email. And sometimes that just goes straight to my spam folder. I try to check it regularly because I know that happens. But the best way to avoid that is to use your official Pima email when you email me, and then it'll be right there. And unless I'm having an emergency situation with internet connectivity or something, I should respond in a 24-hour period. I also have embedded here on this landing page where we'll do course announcements, reminders will come up here. You have information about me, how to contact me. And you also have embedded ways to connect with librarians, because there are some research components to this course, and I want you all to be strong researchers and use all the support that Pima has. So this is Sandra Lay, who actually is based out of Pima Community College's West Campus. That may or may not be accessible to you, but you do have options to ask librarians questions, and they could potentially help you, navigate researching digitally, right? Through Pima's online web collections. Okay, so that's our, and of course you've got some quick links down here too, tech support, things like that. I want to say that I'm going to always try to answer questions to the best of my ability, but sometimes I get questions about things going on D2L. And I am not a tech person, right? So I'm working with what I've got and I may not understand what's going on. So in your, the first thing to do to kind of navigate this course is to go into course content. And the first thing that should pop up is this welcome module with this hoopla playing right here. And I've really sequenced it down with a little statement to read first, a syllabus that I'm going to go over, a schedule of work, more information about me so you can contact me. I have this open discussion topic for questions and concerns where if you're maybe, you want to group think something, right? And this is an online asynchronous class. This would be a space where you all as students can have open dialogue. You want to like talk through an assignment or something. Of course, you can email me, but if you want to get peer feedback, this would be a place. Then I have some thoughts about the library and how to identify scholarly resources. Then this is where if you're having some hiccups with D2L, uploading things, converting files to the correct extension so that they'll upload to D2L, this is where you can check out some really brief videos, tutorials of how to do that. Because if you email me with questions about that, I might not know. And so I'm going to direct you to Pima Tech, which is often very helpful, but there might be some information already embedded on this website with these links that you could solve your own issues. I've also got some information about Pima Arts, and I've got my grading rubrics up front so you know how you're getting the grades that you're getting. And in case you're ever feeling unsure about a project as they come up, I have the assignment guidelines all here on this first page, and instructions for our discussion assignments. And then we go right into this first assignment that you have, which is a discussion topic. I do want to draw your attention to this course contract quiz. So our class opens on February 1st. This course contract quiz is going to be due February 4th. And basically what it is, it's 2 questions. They're not trick questions. It's like, did you read the syllabus? Do you agree to the terms of the syllabus? And do you agree to email me if you have questions? Say yes to both of those and we are good to go. If you do not complete this quiz, I am going to take that as your opting out of taking this class. That would be, you read the syllabus, this class actually isn't what you want, and for some reason you are not disenrolling yourself. So if you don't take that quiz by the 4th, you will be dropped from the class for non-participation. And that's just when you enter a class and you have a syllabus, that's your agreement with the instructor. The instructor says, I'm going to teach you these things on this day, and you're going to be tested on these things on these days. They hold up their side, and then you say, okay, great, I'm going to learn these things by this time, and I'm going to take this test at this time. It's particularly important in these fully online courses. So please, please, please don't forget to do that. I'm going to have announcements reminding folks to do it, but I wanted to point it out here. All right. So what you would go on this page, you would get acquainted with this README first. This is like, how is this course organized? What kinds of assignments are we looking at? Where are the rubrics? Please work ahead of time. This is just kind of a layout. What will be the most helpful in terms of actually like answering questions about when things are due and what's happening is the syllabus and the schedule of work, which is right below. So Art 105, course number 2808. This is me. I have my phone listed because it's a Pima policy. I do not answer my phone from unknown numbers. I also, because I'm a PhD student and because I teach at Pima, at U of A, and at Appalachian State University, I'm actively teaching courses most of the day. And when I'm not teaching courses, I might be in a PhD course myself or a workshop or something. So I'm not answering my phone hardly at all. And I don't have my voicemail set up. That's not how I roll. I go by email. So if you want to get a hold of me, email me. Even if email is not your preferred, if you really want to like have a dialogue, that's great. Email me to set up an appointment via Zoom. We'll hop on a call like this. We can do video on face to face where, I can share my screen and walk you through things. But that's the way to do it. Generally, I'm most available on Fridays. But that fluctuates. So if you want to meet via Zoom, please send me an email. Let me know when you're available to come meet, and I'll send you probably this link once again, just to remind you via email, and we'll set a time and we'll go from there. Do note that because this is like my office hours, there is a passcode. So if you hop on the Zoom link, you're gonna have to put that in. It's just so that I know that the people who are entering that space are all students, right? I've got some contact information for the PIMA department chair, some D2L Brightspace help and tech support if ever you need it. I'm just going to read our course description out, but I won't read this whole syllabus. So this Art 105 is a class that covers the exploration of historical and contemporary art and the visual image within the context of global culture. It includes selective perception, formal analysis, materials and techniques, art and visual culture in a historical and contemporary framework, and museum, galleries, and public spaces. So we're going to interface with all of that. I am sorry, parts of this are old. This is I think there are some remnants here from previous semesters. This is correct, but this is great. This is me. I'm going to check up on this. You've got a layout of how much work you need to do. Technology considerations. I do want to draw your attention to the fact that because this is online asynchronous, you are going to need to have a device that accesses D2L that can also do, handle playing video and sound. You're also going to need access to your PIMA email address and, consistent internet. PIMA, their libraries are open and they have internet there. You could go to public libraries. But just make sure that you're scheduling out time per week to work on class content. Class assignments are due at 11:30 on Sundays. And so if you're not getting things in by then, not only do you not get credit for that assignment, but you don't get marked present. I have to mark you absent. How I track whether or not people are active in the course is whether or not they're keeping up with their work, right? Because we don't have Zoom meetings. So it's doubly important that you at least try to stay on top of that. If something is an emergency is coming up, right, just email me. I do want to say that AI is not really used in this course. I am going to put forward an announcement where I talk about how you could use AI very selectively to start drafting things, right? If you're like, let's say we have an assignment on researching Renaissance art. You could, for example, ask an AI like ChatGPT. You could say, I'm a student, write a 3-paper essay on Renaissance art. You could look at what AI did and you could say, okay, this is a nice kind of layout. I like that they, mentioned this in the introduction. I like how they set up their body paragraphs. Oh, I like what they did in the conclusion. You could use that as a reference document where you don't use any of the language coming from AI, but you think about how it's organized and you maybe like see some of the concepts that they hit on, and you're like, oh, I remember in class we did talk about these painters, so I'm gonna bring in my knowledge from class and I'm gonna cite academic sources. That is the one way where you could use AI as a just drafting kind of brainstorming. If you're feeling a lot of writer's block, that would be the one moment where you could use AI and then you write your own thing, right? You just look at it for a reference, and then you do your own. It would be like if I had previous student work available, right? You wouldn't copy a previous student's work, but you might see how they laid out their assignment, right? It would be similar to that. So nothing that you submit should be generated by AI. There is no textbook for this course. All of the information, all of the stuff is on D2L. There is an assignment where you would make a creative work, and that would require that you have some creative materials. So you would probably want some notebook paper, some drawing paper, some pens and pencils, maybe some scissors. You definitely want some sort of camera to document the work of art that you make. And also, this is pretty critical. You're going to need to visit some local art events, some displays, museums, or performances. Now, I understand because we're Pima Online, because we're asynchronous, you might not be Tucson based. So I have a list of resources of places to go in Tucson, but that might not apply to you. So you would then do your own work. Let's say you really wouldn't be in El Paso, but let's say you're out in Yuma and there's a local gallery there and they have an exhibition going on. You could email me a link to that or just describing the event and say, would this qualify for one of my assignments? It's in my local town. Odds are I will say yes, absolutely. I've also had several students who travel during the semester and even go abroad. I've had students go to France or Japan, and they're like, I really want to make use of my time in this different space in this new country, and I want to go to one of their museums and I want to write about it. I'm always like, yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. So, but just know that you will need on occasion to go to some physical spaces to see art. Here are some other, things that might be helpful. It's not necessary that you have, wood to create a sculpture, but if that's how you want to make, think about what materials you would want to use as a maker. Um, all right, we've got our student learning outcomes. All right. Everything is through D2L. Your grades are through D2L. All the content is through D2L. So if you're struggling with D2L, go to that landing page to this course and watch some of those tutorials. And if you have any lingering questions, feel free to ask me. It is not common that students receive an incomplete for this, but these are the ways that you could qualify for that. Here's a breakdown of all the assignments that we have. So starting with that course contract, not only is that the way that you continue on in this course, but I give you 5 points for it. So that's great. Then we'll have a little discussion where you introduce yourself. I'm going to give you points for that. Then you have a couple of assignments where you go to a museum or a performance or an art event. Of course, we have class content that I'm lecturing on and quizzes about each of those. And then you have a couple of discussions. Sometimes you're like imagining meeting your favorite artists and you're writing about what that would be like. Or sometimes you have been asked to go view public art and you're talking about the mural you saw on the street. So it's different. We like to mix it up. But those are all discussion-based assignments, so you'll need to write something and then also respond. And then we have these capstone ones. So these are things that you'll be working on over the course of the semester. And really just remember that you should be thinking about them and working on them throughout so that they don't stack up at the very end. I really do not accept late work. If you anticipate something coming or if there's an emergency, feel free to email me. But really, because it's the way that I track attendance, because we're all agreeing to this online situation, I really very rarely accept late work. Again, you will be required to go visit a local museum or public art. So, think about that. Um, I will respond to your email likely 24 hours, but sometimes 48 hours if things are really hectic or I am struggling with internet connectivity. I also will grade your work quickly. I strive so you have due dates on Sunday. Monday is generally my grading day. So I try to get all of your work evaluated by the end of the day. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen and we might go into later in the week, but you shouldn't be, questioning what your grade is in this course at all. That will be evident on D2L and or feedback and responses will be given promptly. If ever you're struggling to access that, again, feel free to email me and we'll problem solve together. Great. This is a little bit more about the activities. I am not going to go over them right now because I'm going to talk about them more in relation to their due dates in the next document. Be courteous when you're giving feedback. Again, there are some discussion components of this course, and we just want to be nice and supportive, right? We don't We also want to think about art can really push us, and it can tackle some tough topics, some tough emotional topics, some things that we might not agree upon based on who we are. And we want to do our best to respect other people's views, but also I am not going to accept any sort of hate speech or violence in this course at all. So if you put that on a discussion post, that discussion post is going to go away and we're going to have a discussion outside of the view of your classmates, because we're all here to learn and we really don't need that in this space. So let's just keep it light, keep it supportive. And if you have a differing view and you want to say like, wow, this really changed my view, or I responded to this differently, just to have a conversation, that is absolutely valid. But we're not going to target anyone or say anything unkind at all. Okay, so I've also got these key dates here. Again, class begins on the 1st of February. You have about a week to interface with this class and decide if you want to drop it and get a refund. You can withdraw without a refund up until April 15th, and then we will be done May 19th. So, just always be checking our schedules. And I've got some links here. So this is our syllabus document, and I'll go back to our welcome module. Got this little video going, overview, syllabus. Next, probably the most important document on here is the schedule of work. Because this is run through D2L, I have every assignment and discussion that has a due date has that embedded in it. So you should get alerts on D2L. But if ever you're confused or something isn't matching up, default to this schedule of work. Also, if ever there's something, one time I made a terrible mistake where I made something, like I said, our due dates are should be 11:30 p.m. on that date. I made a terrible mistake and made something due at 11:30 a.m. And I noticed it when I saw all the submissions were late. I was like, my whole class wasn't late that day. But one of my students also emailed me to say that something was amiss, and I adjusted it and we figured it out. So if ever there's something that's not matching up on the schedule of work in an assignment or on the syllabus in an assignment, just email me and we will fix it. Okay, so course contract, be sure you do that by the 4th. Also, we're going to introduce ourselves on a discussion board there. Like I said, these are all Sundays, and so you'll need to spend the week reading, watching videos about class content, and then at the end of the week, you'll have a quiz. If you want to work ahead, go ahead and work ahead. If I were taking this course and I am an anxious person, and I have assignment anxiety, I would be working as fast as I could. I'd be like, okay, let's see if I could actually complete up to quiz 3 by February 11th. I would give myself, you certainly don't have to, but if that's who you are, I support it and I recognize it and I understand it. So got content going on here. Please note that some of these semester-long assignments are going to open a little bit later. I've staggered them so that you're not super overwhelmed this first week of class, like thinking about, the quizzes that you have and the content that'll be very regular, as well as introducing yourself and just getting acquainted, and then also like staring down these semester-long assignments. I give us a little bit of week of buffer to just kind of get acquainted, and then I release them. So they'll become available to you on February 11th. That said, all of the other chapter quizzes, most of the rest of the course content should be available to you from the very start. If there's ever something that you're struggling to find, or again, if it's not matching up, email me, email me, email me. I will fix it. We'll figure it out. So we've got these modules. Every week we've got assignments. Of course, we have spring break and we have rodeo break, so there's some gaps here and there, but we're going to stay strong. And then so here in module 8, this is where you not only have your like final class content quiz, so chapter 12, you'd be doing that, and your final assignment where you kind of reflect on the course as a whole, but you also have all of these assignments that have been ongoing throughout the semester. The capstone, which is a self-portrait assignment where you can use materials that you like to work with to think about how you would artistically portray yourself. The museum field trip assignment, where you go to a location and you reflect upon your experience in a museum or a gallery. And then these art event or performance gallery assignments. There's two of those, and so all of those are due at the end of the semester. Please, please start working on them right away. Okay, I also have a little breakdown here about how, you're getting to the course total, which is an odd number, 700, but if ever you're thinking about what is like the weight of an assignment, you could take how many points it's worth and divide it by 700. Okay. I don't want to keep you all too long, but this is this welcome module, probably the most important part of the class. So if you have any questions about this, please ask them right away, super early. The next thing you would click on when you want to get started into content would be module 1. And then it just walks you right through. We have this overview kind of page and embedded links. Also, then you can click on other embedded links and they'll take you to that D2L page that talks about it. If ever you go to click on one of these and the link is broken, again, email me right away. Generally, you can kind of hopefully find them there. Most of them are through YouTube. And so if you put this into a YouTube search and you could tell that it's 1 minute long, you would likely find the link that I was going for. But please email me so I can adjust it for other students. That happened one time last semester, and some of these PBS hasn't really updated, but some of the educational websites that make videos about art, like the Khan Academy, and there are some others, they actually update their information. They keep it current. So you might actually go to a YouTube link and it might in the title say, there's an updated link in the comments section. So you can scroll down, and as long as it was a video on Van Gogh, and then you get transported to another video on Van Gogh that basically looks the same but has a more current date, you're on the right track. So, also feel free to let me know if there's anything that's seeming outdated. All right, so you should be able to have an assignment or assessment area to check your grades and to also quickly go to assignments or discussion boards. So for example, this is your first discussion. It's an icebreaker introduction where you give a little information about yourself and respond to a classmate. Also, you can access all of your assignments by going to the module that they're associated with, scrolling down through the content, and then here at the end, so for this first week, you would have a course contract quiz, the discussion that I just pulled up, and then a quiz on chapter 1, which is due February 11th, and a quiz on chapter 2 due February 18th. Then you can see I also have these long-term class assignments are going to pop up because we're in my instructor view. You can see that they're going to be made available on February 11th, and this will be due May 12th. So if ever you're struggling to find those, just go back to this welcome module and this first module and kind of do a refresher. That is all. Thank you so much for your attention. I know it can be a little bit long-winded, but this is the only time you really need to listen to me talk just straight. Looking forward to learning with you all. Please feel free again to reach out via email if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you so much and looking forward.